Here's something nobody tells you. Having a small circle doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It might actually mean there's something right with how your brain works. Let's talk about what psychology really says about people who walk through life with few or no close friends. Your brain has what I call an authenticity detector, and it's extremely sensitive. When someone's being fake, putting on a performance, or hiding their true intentions, you feel it immediately. It's like an alarm going off in your mind. This isn't paranoia. Studies on emotional intelligence show that some people process social cues at a much deeper level. You're reading micro-expressions, tone shifts, and inconsistencies that others miss entirely. The result? You can't force yourself to stay in relationships that feel hollow. Walking away from fake connections isn't antisocial behavior, it's self-preservation. You've learned that protecting your mental space matters more than collecting people who don't actually care. Here's where things get interesting. While most people are comfortable with surface-level friendships, your brain craves something different. You need meaningful exchange. Think about the last time you sat through a conversation about nothing. The weather, weekend plans, generic compliments. Your mind was probably screaming for an exit. Research on personality types shows that certain individuals have what's called a high need for cognition. You want to discuss ideas that matter, what motivates human behavior, what gives life meaning, why people make the choices they do. But here's the catch. Most social interactions don't go that deep, so you find yourself withdrawing, not because you hate people, but because shallow connection feels worse than being alone. This one's crucial to understand. Some nervous systems are simply wired to process social interaction differently. While an extrovert leaves a party feeling energized, you leave feeling like you ran a marathon. Every conversation, every social cue you pick up, every emotion you sense in the room costs you energy. Psychologists call this sensory processing sensitivity. Your brain doesn't just hear what people say, it analyzes how they say it, what they're not saying, what they're feeling beneath their words. You're running multiple layers of processing simultaneously. This exhaustion isn't weakness, it's the price of seeing more than most people see. And that's why you need solitude afterward, not to avoid people, but to recover from the intensity of actually experiencing them. Here's what separates you from people who panic at the thought of being alone. You don't need external validation to feel whole. Most people structure their entire lives around social approval. They need constant reassurance, regular check-ins, group validation for every decision. You don't operate that way. You can sit with your own thoughts, solve problems independently, find fulfillment in solitary activities. This is what psychologists call autonomous functioning, and it's actually a sign of psychological maturity. But society misreads this strength as coldness. People assume if you're comfortable alone, something must be missing. They don't realize you've simply built a rich enough internal world that you don't need constant external input. Let's address the elephant in the room, past experience. If you've been betrayed, abandoned, or surrounded by the wrong people during formative years, your brain develops what researchers call relational schemas. Basically, protective patterns that make you more cautious about who gets access to your inner world. You don't trust easily anymore, and that's not damage, that's adaptation. Your brain learned that not everyone deserves your vulnerability, so it created a screening process. You observe longer, test consistency, watch how people treat others when they think nobody's watching. This might mean fewer friendships, but the ones you do form tend to be more solid. If you're watching this and relating to everything I've said, understand something important. Your small circle isn't a deficiency. It's a choice your brain is making based on how it processes the world. You see through pretense faster. You need deeper connection. You feel social interaction more intensely. You value independence. You've learned to be selective. None of this makes you broken. It makes you different. And sometimes the people with the richest inner lives, the sharpest intuition, and the deepest self-awareness spend more time alone than others. Not because they can't connect, because they refuse to settle for connections that don't feed their soul. If this resonated with you, there's more where this came from. Subscribe for psychology content that actually explains how your mind works, not how society thinks it should work.